Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Rhyme of the Times for the week ending 4th of October 2025. Labour conference is addressed by Keir, who shows his best and gets things off his chest, and his supporters are impressed. A knifeman leaves people at a Manchester synagogue distressed, and now the long-term damage is assessed as Jews are stressed and depressed, and pro-Palestine protesters ignore requests to not protest. European golfers pass the test in their quest to show America they're still the best. The woman who studied primates with zest is blessed and finally laid to rest. As Starmer headed to the banks of the Mersey, he could have been forgiven for seeking mercy. Manchester Met Mayor Andy Burnham last week had, it seems, made Keir's position more weak. Burnham had stirred it up on conference eve by displaying to the press his heart on his sleeve. Keir's closing speech Wednesday was one of his best. Well, at least those in the room were well impressed. He was more animated, more cavalier, talked of a fork in the road ahead very near, the choice between renewal and decline now clear. A fight for the soul of the country, said Sir Keir. In the room he was creating a lot of cheer, but outside the room there's much more to fear. Not so much the fork ahead, but a knife in the back, with Andy Burnham and others on the attack. With Nigel Farage there were no holds barred. Sir Keir went in studs up, went in hard. Claimed reform's leader doesn't like Britain and only thrives and survives on hate and division. Sir Keir might be under pressure and battled, but his comments had Reform UK quite rattled. Indeed, Zia Yusuf said there was no basis for Starmer to say their policies are racist, and such words could be considered reckless, inciting hatred from the witless and feckless. It was a sin that had Britain shocked and agog, the death of 2 Jews at a Manchester synagogue. Many Jewish people, though, were not surprised at all. The writing for some had been scrawled on the wall. They had seen it coming. They already knew a case of when, not if, such a crime would ensue. And a shiver shot down many Jewish spines, evoking Nazi Germany of pre-war times, the scourge of anti-Semitism raising its head, hanging in the air, heavy with dread, infiltrating society, an iniquitous thread, influencing the population to want Jews dead. The weekly pro-Palestine protests, perhaps a warning of what happened Thursday morning. Bad times dawning. One Jewish man killed by a man with a knife before the emergency services had time to arrive. They'd taken barely 10 minutes to get there, but already carnage was everywhere. Jihad al-Shami had stabbed Melvin Kravitz in the body and head in a frenzied knife blitz. The police shot him dead, but in the crossfire it turned out that a tragic event had transpired. A Jew called Adrian Dorby had also died as he held the synagogue door shut from inside, trying to keep the death-fueled knifeman at bay, saving the lives of those who'd come to pray. But a police bullet pierced the synagogue door, and Mr. Dorby was found lying dead on the floor. A horror in a British city had occurred on the Jewish holy day of Yom Kippur. The perpetrator had been on bail on a charge of rape. He had also expressed allegiance to Islamic State. The Prime Minister and the Home Secretary then requested, in the name of sensitivity for pro-Palestine protests, to be paused because of the fear to Jews that it may cause. But there was no consideration for such fears, as the pleas very much fell on deaf ears, and the febrile state of Britain somehow has been raised to an even higher level right now. On Sunday, as the sun rose in the Farmingdale sky, Europe felt they were just about home and dry. Just 11 matches of singles golf remained between then and the Ryder Cup being retained. 11 rounds, not 12. The reason why? Hovland hurt his neck, so his match was deemed a tie. 2 days on top meant glory was in Europe's grip, and it would need more than a blip, more like a huge landslip, for the Americans to have the tables flipped. But those Americans, it seemed, had not read the script, and with the home crowd into a frenzy whipped. Taunts and abuse into the Europeans ripped, and for a while the cutting quips and merciless lip had European wings clipped as their confidence dipped, as hole after hole Europe's lead further slipped. The negative momentum just couldn't be nipped, and the whole 3 days looked like a wasted trip. But just when all hope down to the bare bones was stripped, Shane Lowry in match 8 got half a point just in time. His last gasp birdie dragged Europe across the line. Jane Goodall's life was dedicated to having primates understood and appreciated. For her it wasn't monkey business, but serious stuff to dig those chimpanzees that she came to love. Her research painted monkeys in a different hue regarding their brain power and what they could do. In male-dominated times she was a pioneer, particularly in Kenya and Tanzania, where she persevered year after year with her research and ideas, now much revered. She'd done the tough donkey work with her monkey work, so later others could do the more funky work. Her popular culture references make a long list, and she became an environmental activist. And until her last breath, she had it that way. It was on Wednesday at 91 when she passed away, whilst on a speaking tour in the USA.